I'm holding some pieces right now. You know, for centuries, we've been having to deal with um, being vulnerable and feeling unsafe in the world, just with our basic needs: food, shelter, um, war, violence, and you know, when you're a child and you don't have control of a situation, the way that we deal with that, the way that we get control and claim our safety, is by um, doing things internally, making promises and vows um, about how our life is going to be. And for centuries, the way it's shown up in our lives has been the same way too. We feel vulnerable. We know we don't actually have control over things. So the way that we give ourselves the sense of control is by separating um, everything from creating imaginary boundaries between groups of people to identifying, what race and sexual orientation you're in, to separating our inner self, from the rest of the world. Even people who are authentic and vulnerable, there's still sort of this like gap that's in between. And when you're a child and you make these promises and you choose a mode of operation so that you can get control of the situation, it works for a little while, and then as you age, those pieces actually end up being the thing that that keep you stuck in the pattern you were trying to escape in the first place. And the mechanisms you use to get control turn into a cage. A cage around your heart. And in society now, in civilization, in the age that we're at, a lot of us are doing this inner work, doing the work to reclaim what we want, and declare that we get to be vulnerable in a different way now. The thing that we've been avoiding, the fear of being vulnerable, has actually just created a situation where there is more things to fear. The separation has us more afraid of each other. And so where we used to create more distance, the solution we're playing with now is being more vulnerable with each other to escape that separation. Most of us are dealing with similar internal issues. For women, we've used drama and the fear of patriarchy and the threat of violence to keep us separate from each other, and to hold everything in because it didn't feel safe to be external with it. And there's really been this beautiful sisterhood that has been unfolding in the last century, and I might even say like 30 years, especially. We get to come out now. We get to come out and stop hiding all of the things that we're worried about, and stop covering up or trying to show up in a way that looks like we have things figured out, because none of us do. And the piece that I'm holding right now is, I know the pain of separation and the burden of the threat of violence, for women, and men have this too, and I'm feeling like that's what's being called forward, now. For women, our experience has been being in hiding. The whole idea of like women's intuition, being something that scares other people, and so they've been putting us down. Well, it scares us too. We're the ones that are afraid of it. And we keep pinning it on the systems that are in play. But really, we're the ones that are afraid. It feels so vulnerable to just be who we are and speak what's going on for us, from our pains to our excitement. And men's job for centuries has been holding down the fort, being the protector. And while you're out there, being the protector for everyone else, you get further and further away from, who you are inside, because you have to create this wall or image of strength. And we're grateful for it. We're grateful for it. And we're grateful for you. And the call that I'm sitting on is, you can come out now too. We as in, women or the feminine, are in a place where we are getting in touch with our power and, claiming our own safety. So you don't necessarily have to hold that for us anymore. We can help hold the space now. And I just keep hearing this like inner boy that wants to come out and play. you know, from a deeper place, not just games. And the fierceness of competition, we're fucking done with that. We are so done with that. And the field that's present here is, well, can we be safe away? Can we be safe? Is it safe to be vulnerable? Is it safe to collaborate? If I can't compete, then how do I know where I am and how well I'm doing at being a person? what is your little boy's heart calling for? What is it ready to claim for itself, to explore, or to let go? If you're afraid that you've been the bad guy, we're all the bad guy. We're all victim to something. That's what our ego wants, is to find somebody to pin it on. But we're moving beyond that. Not by having to blame somebody else, and not by having to blame ourselves. There's this piece of the work of the paradigm shift where we claim responsibility for what happens in our life. And the instant contraction that many of us have when we play with that concept, when we play of really taking in and embodying that concept, is, well, shit, if I'm responsible for everything that happens to me, are you saying I'm to blame for the fucked up shit I've had to deal with? No, because blame is an illusion too. And when we can get past that, that piece of blame and shame, and we can kind of get to the top of the hill and see that there's something beyond that, then we get to see the power that we have as creators. And so I just want to come back and share how grateful I am for all of the people that have been holding it together and being the protector and the mothers, and creating the space so that we can all come out. We're in a time where the boundaries and the separations between us are dissolving, and the instinct here is to get more control, and to cling on to the things that clearly define what's what, so that we can figure out where we are. And where we are now is just surrendering. Just surrendering to have permission to feel what we're feeling and to share what we're feeling with one another. And that's what I have for you right now. Bye for now.